Hello, everybody. Last night in our coaching call, a really interesting topic came up on how do you balance gratitude and staying positive and being positive versus that kind of, there are some negative feelings, there are some negative emotions going on, and when you stuff all your emotions, when you push everything down, when you ignore all the bad stuff, when you don't deal with your emotions, and you stay positive and stay happy, and how do you balance those two? Because it's not, we know you can't just stuff everything down because eventually it's going to come up and has to be dealt with. So rather than stuffing it all down and trying to stay positive, what's an appropriate approach? And the concept of toxic positivity is a really good answer to that, and I think we need to pay attention to that. There's so much out in the social media and in the personal development area, and particularly in some of the spiritual communities around, you have to be positive, you have to trust, you have to have faith, you don't ever want to, you don't want to feel those bad emotions, you want to do, you want to generate some positive emotions instead. And yet the reality is sometimes life sucks. Sometimes there's some rough stuff going on. There are negative emotions, there are bad reactions, there are bad, difficult feelings, and that if we just stuff them all down and ignore them, we're not helping ourselves. And so it's finding that balance between being positive and sitting with your emotions and dealing with them appropriately and taking responsibility for them and being able to sit with your hard emotions and then make a choice to do something positive out of that situation. And I think that's where sometimes some of the self-help stuff, some of the, be positive, don't worry kind of movement gets it a little bit past the line of what's into toxic positivity. And maybe you're not familiar with that term. So toxic positivity, I'm going to just kind of give you an example. It's kind of a continuum where you have on one end a victim mentality that you don't want. On the other end you have a toxic positivity, which is just stuffing your emotions and pretending you're happy, and the fake it till you make it kind of approach, which is so popular in so many manifestation circles and things. And in the middle we have this healthy acceptance. So for example, in the victim mentality, everything is awful, I'll never get any better because my situation is worse than everybody else's, everything sucks, everything happens to me, poor me. And on the toxic positivity side, it's, oh, everything's great, I'm going to be fine, I'm handling it, I'm in control of my destiny, I will be cured if I do everything right, I'm not going to put up with negative emotions, I'm going to keep myself positive. And in the middle, where we need to be, this healthy acceptance, this is a tough moment. I'm not sure what the future holds, but I will take care of myself. Emotions will run their course, and as long as we don't act out of those emotions, it's okay to let them come up and feel them and acknowledge them and pass them on. Where we want the positivity is, how do we choose a positive response and action to those emotions? And I think it's really important that we recognize that having the emotion is not about negative or positive. Having a difficult emotion is not necessarily negative, it just is. It's part of life, we all have them. And remember, emotions are energy in motion, and it's a lot of the story that we put onto it that matters. So if someone's having a difficult time and they tell you some of their problems, instead of saying, oh, just keep smiling, or you tell yourself even worse, oh, just keep smiling. Everything happens for a reason. Failure is not an option. It could be worse. All the kinds of things that we tend to hear, the platitudes that come out, they don't help us figure out how to deal with those emotions in an appropriate way. So instead of going over to that toxic positivity, how about if we tell ourselves, or if we tell our friends, instead of, oh, be positive, keep smiling, it's okay to be upset. It's okay to even cry. It makes you more human. Let the emotion out and then figure out some kind of a positive response where you can do something useful in response to it. We don't want the opposite of, it's okay to be upset, so blow up and explode and be angry and, throw things at people and destroy. We don't want to go to that extreme either. But we want that middle ground where it's okay to be upset. It's okay to feel your emotions. It's okay to let them out. And then find some positive way to move forward. I don't know how many times people have told me, well, everything happens for a reason. And if implying that, well, if I just had the faith and if I just had the trust, it would all work out. You know what? Sometimes it's okay to feel bad. And it's all right to feel bad. And it's okay to examine those feelings. The choice is, what are you going to do about it? And then choose a positive way forward in it. Rather than, I feel bad, so I'm going to, wallow in my self-pity. No, I feel bad. I need to look at those emotions. I need to understand the emotions. I need to simply let myself feel those emotions. And then I need to say, okay, now what am I going to do in response to this, and what's an appropriate way to move forward in this? And so I just wanted to kind of bring that into your awareness. Don't let that toxic positivity take over, because what that does is it causes you to stuff all your emotions instead of dealing with them. And we know from experience that stuffing those emotions, everything that's been stuffed eventually has to come out. It has to be dealt with. It has to be looked at. It has to be acknowledged and allowed to release. Emotions are energy in motion. It comes up, and it's only a problem if it gets stuck and not isn't allowed to move. And sometimes when we're too positive, when we're too, everything's going to be okay, I'm fine, no problem, I can deal with this, I'm going to keep smiling. When we're doing that, we're not instead saying, okay, this is really tough, I'm going to look at this, I'm going to sit with this for a few minutes, I'm going to examine it, and then I'm going to say, okay, what do I learn from this? What do I need to learn from this? Is there something I need to know? Take whatever lesson there is, or if there isn't, then let it go and say, okay, this happened, it's an experience, but now what am I going to do as a result of it? How am I going to decide to choose a way forward that will be healthy and practical for me? So, that's one of the topics we talk about in our coaching program, and if that's something that's interesting to you, let me know. We are doing one of our community classes Thursday night, that's tomorrow night, on self-care myths and what is self-care really all about? Is it really about going and having a $100 massage and a $200 pedicure and manicure, or is it really about spending money and having somebody else take care of you, or is there something more to self-care than that? So the self-care myths, that it's money and time and other people taking care of you, we're going to look at what does self-care really mean, and how do you choose what's right for you? And by self-care, what are we actually caring for, and how are we doing that? So if you want to join that class, just shoot me a message below and I will be happy to send you an invite to get you into it. If you want to join it but you aren't going to be able to be there tomorrow night, still register, because everybody who's registered will get the link, so you'll still be able to watch it all and do it. We're going to probably do some energy work around being willing to accept self-care. So I find it really hard to accept caring for ourselves. We're so used to caring for everybody else that we don't care well for ourselves. So might do some energy work around that as well, being open to self-care in a new way. So drop a note below if you want an invitation to that. Talk to you soon. Thanks.